Celebrating its 75th anniversary, the American Society of Human Genetics has been a driving force in the field of genetics and genomics, promoting cutting-edge research, collaboration, and education. The world's best and brightest in human genetics and genomics research convene once again, this time in Washington, D.C. for ASHG's annual meeting. Join the more than 8,000 scientists from around the globe to take part in learning all of the year's most significant new advances in the field. ASHG TV starts right now. Hello everyone and welcome back to another day at the 2023 ASHG annual meeting. I'm Autria Godfrey, your host for the next few days, where we will be giving you exclusive interviews with leaders in the field. We will dive deep into some of the institutions at the forefront of genetics and genomics research. Plus, we will also be highlighting some of the key topics being discussed at this year's annual meeting. There is so much for us to get to, but first we want to get started with highlighting you, our members. We took to the floor to learn more about what membership means to you. Let's take a look now at what some of you had to say.
The membership itself is, I guess, a means for me to come to the conference. And when I'm here, it's a great opportunity to discuss with people, other experts in the field, learn, the new methods, new techniques of how to do things properly, what's the, going rate for everything. So it's just a great opportunity to get together and collaborate.
Membership on ASHG is important to me because it gives me the opportunity to present my research and to present what my lab has done to all the population that's around here. And also because my research focuses on diversity, inclusion, and equity, it's a very good exposure for what the community needs and what the information has to be bring to all this population.
That means a lot to me. This is the first time I have got the opportunity to be the member of ASHG and to be the part of this world largest and amazing conference of in the field of human genetics. All over the world, the members or the renowned and eminent scientists come here, and for us who are just the learner and yes, we are seeing and we are meeting with them, we are getting the advancement and recent trends going on in the field of human genetics.
So being a member at ASHG, I think, gives me an opportunity to interact with people who do similar research. This is my first meeting in ASHG, and I hope to get to meet people, especially people who have seen their work or published online, and I'd like to meet them in person and also do networking so that I can be able to do collaborations in the future.
I've attended ASHG before, but this is my first year being a member. And being a member allows you special access in terms of topics of interest, in terms of what they're called interest groups. That allows you to attend additional things when you are here in the meeting. It allows you to know what's happening within those topics of interest. And then as someone who works for a company, it allows me to sometimes meet customers and have those insightful conversations in the meeting, in exhibit halls. So it just gives you a little bit more exposure than just attending the conference.
Here now in studio is Dr. Athena Starlar Davenport and Dr. Charles Rotimi, both here today to discuss diversity in genetics and genomics research. Good morning to you both. Thanks for your time.
Good morning. Thank you.
All right, let's talk about the fact that, in the field of genetics and genomics, diversity and representation in research is increasingly becoming more and more important. How do you make sure that there is a wide diversity in your research?
Sure. So for my research, I study breast cancer genetics as well as sickle cell disease, and both of those diseases disproportionately affect Black individuals or individuals of African ancestry. So for breast cancer, I have developed a study with participants, community advocates, and clinicians called the STAR study, called Sisters Taking a Stand for Breast Cancer Research. And in that study, it's an epidemiological study to understand the causes of breast cancer due to environment as well as genetic factors. So I think for me, for that study, it's important to include minorities, particularly women of African ancestry, because they've been underrepresented in research, genetic research, for a long period of time, similarly to sickle cell disease.
Dr. Rotimi, how important do you feel it is to make sure that these underrepresented communities are now a part of this research?
I think it's critically important, not just from a social justice point of view, but also as a scientific imperative. We cannot fully understand the meaning of some of these variations that we see that are tracking different diseases or traits of humans without looking at different parts of the world. And especially in African ancestry populations, again, all of us will recognize that Africa is the cradle of humanity. And there are things that we see in the genome of African people around the world, whether it's in Africa or in the diaspora, that you really cannot study unless you look at those populations. And so it's not just to help African ancestry populations, but it's really to help the world.
What are some of the challenges or maybe some of the obstacles that you face when it comes to inclusivity and making sure that you are reaching out to those underrepresented communities, making sure they're a part of the research?
I found one of the major challenges has been that a lot of participants in my studies have recognized that a lot of people have not offered for them to participate in a lot of research studies. A lot of the times, women say that nobody has asked them to participate in the studies, and it's not that they don't want to participate, they just haven't been approached to participate in studies. And a lot of times research has shown that there's a lot of mistrust in the community due to various racial discriminatory factors. And so I think educating the community about the importance of the research and why it will help them as well as future generations is critical.
Dr. Rotimi, are there any new breakthroughs or anything exciting in your mind that you think might help really address the health disparities that we're currently experiencing?
I think one of the breakthroughs is that as geneticists and scientists, we are definitely recognizing, that we have not done a good job of expanding the scope of the work that we do to bring different ancestral populations around the world. And some of that realization is as a result of the fact that we know there are aspects of the work that we are doing that we are not having good explanation for. And that we needed to embrace other parts of the world. And if we are going to deploy genomic medicine in a way that benefits everybody everywhere, then we have to include the variations that exist in those parts of the world or in those communities, ancestral backgrounds. And I look at genetics, genomic medicine, it's almost like going to the tailor. If you want your clothes to fit, you better show up for your measurements. You cannot rely on my size or my measurements for your clothes. And that's how precise genetics can be. So we need to make sure that we understand how those variations are distributed around the world. And it's not really we can't conflate that understanding with the issue of race or things like that, because that's not the point. We know that race is a social construct, but at the same time, we know that we need to represent the distribution of the variations that exist around the world that don't necessarily track how we define ourselves socially. So to me, that's really the realization. And then there's a consciousness also going on that it is really terrible that if the outcome of all of our genetic efforts exacerbate already unacceptable health disparity, then we really have failed,
I love the example of going to the tailor. That breaks it down for us laymen and makes it something we can understand. But that also brings me to my final question for both of you. Given now that we are finally addressing this problem, which I think is step number one, acknowledging that this is an issue, how do we move forward? What is your hope for the future of genetics and genomics, given that we now know we need to do a better job with diversity and inclusion?
change in infrastructure. I think Dr. Rotimi, he hit it on the nail. I mean, one size does not fit all. You have to change. You have to change infrastructure. That can be down to programs, just recognizing the health equity, talking about it, speaking about it, but it's a long effort.
I absolutely agree, and I think there are very fundamental things that we can do as a society, and especially funding agencies. I say that we need to be a little more understanding of the reason why certain parts of our society, of our world have not been fully funded, and therefore are not participating fully in genomic research. One of the ways that we can address this is to have targeted funding to bring on board those communities and parts of the world that have not participated fully.
Well, the fact that you're both here today speaking about it, hopefully that's a huge first step forward, making sure people are aware, and certainly thanks to you, and thank you for all of your research. Appreciate it.
Thank
you very much.
Genetics and genomics research over the past quarter century has been transformed by technologies such as next-gen sequencing and gene editing. These discoveries have been and are being translated in the diagnostic and therapeutic arenas. Let's take a moment now to hear from the ASHG president, Brendan Lee, about the power and successes of genomic medicine, plus the importance and the continued need to increase access to current and future genomic medicine discoveries.
We've been a field that has really been transformed over the years by technologies that move at a rapid pace. These transformative technologies allow us to, with increasing resolution and specificity, identify the ones which cause human disease. When I was a trainee, we were lucky to identify and be able to attribute a DNA mutation to maybe 1% to 2% of cases. Now, with this technology transformation, we are now able to do this in 35, 40, even 50% of cases. This technology, this ability to make diagnostics is unbelievable. It has changed not just genetics and genomics, it's changed genetics and genomics in genomic medicine of all fields, whether you're a cardiologist, whether you're a pediatrician, whether you're a neonatologist, whether you're a lung doctor. The challenge has been getting these technologies and these diagnostics to all patients, all individuals everywhere. Our vision is that genetics and genomics benefits everyone everywhere. And that is a vision because we have failed as a world, as a health profession in doing that. The ways that we can overcome it, I think reducing cost is a very important component, but then there's also the issue of using technology to reach individuals in urban centers, in rural areas who don't have access even to primary care physicians. So on multiple layers, we hope to bend the curve to get to that vision of genetics and genomics benefiting everyone everywhere. So I think our community is vibrant and exciting, and the science drives what we do, and the technology has driven the science. I think that the excitement that we move the field with is really what keeps us and keeps the field going. I think it's critical also for us to engage. Part of overcoming disparity is to be able to communicate what we do to the public. It's important that we don't limit our communication and our engagement just to ourselves. As amazing as this meeting is, and we're sharing great science, I think the real impact is when we get that science out to the community. So I think that every day as a scientist, we need to think of ourselves as citizens also. In so doing, I think we really will deliver on the impact that our mission makes us do.
Time now to talk ASHG journals, and we are absolutely thrilled to have Dr. Jessica Chong, Deputy Editor for HGG Advances, as well as Dr. Bruce Korf, Editor of American Journal of Human Genetics, here in studio with us this morning. Thanks to you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, really. All right, let's get started with, can you each discuss the specific topic that your journal focuses on?
I'll start with American Journal of Human Genetics. Human genetics.
Just like it says.
Just like it's a very broad field, and it has evolved enormously over the 75 years of its existence. And our main task is to stay on top of that and to really be at the cutting edge of human genetics and genomics, and to recognize the breadth of the research interests of members of the society and the larger human genetics research community.
And for ASHG Advances?
Yeah, so we are human genetics and genomics then. No, actually we're sort of the young upstart sister journal to ASHG. So the main difference is that all the articles we publish are gold open access.
And why do you think both of these journals are so valuable and beneficial for geneticists?
Well, you know, publishing is truly the coin of the realm in terms of research. You know, if you do your work and nobody knows about it, you know, like it never happened.
Both, you know, society journals, you know, we're run by geneticists, human geneticists, and so, you know, when you're trying to publish your paper and you're publishing your work, you know, being able to say, here, if I publish in these journals, it's reviewed by people who are experts in the field, as well as it's going to have an audience of people in your field, is, I think, very valuable.
So for somebody who might be watching, who might be new to the idea of getting their work published, what would your words of wisdom be to try to help them navigate getting that done for the first time?
For the first time, I guess the first point is, you know, work with your mentor, who's presumably, you know, been through this before. And I also would encourage people to submit their ideas to the editorial staff. You know, we get pre-submission applications all the time.
Finding the right journal for your work, you know, so obviously everyone wants to be in the biggest name journal, but, you know, if that's really not the right target for your work, and if you're trying to get through grad school and you're trying to graduate, you know, being able to say, I submit to this journal, I have a pretty good shot of getting in. I know that the people who are reviewing it know this field, they know the issues about, you know, that are sort of specific to my particular field. I think that really helps you kind of get your paper through faster. And really, that's really, you want to graduate, right?
Right,
So that's
beneficial for all.
That's beneficial to everyone.
All right, well, thank you both so much for your time this morning. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The ASHG is filled with opportunities for professional learning and development. Let's take a moment now to learn about these opportunities and resources offered to all members.
So ASHG always offers workshops for the members to join, and they're very interactive. So if you want to learn a new skill, you want to learn a new database, there's definitely opportunities at ASHG for members to explore. Of course, when you're in person, you get to ask people questions, you get to meet new people. You also get to, you know, interact more directly with the people who are running the workshops themselves. Online, you get some of those same opportunities. They really try to make it very interactive. You can ask questions. Usually you can reach out afterwards through emails. And so you're still able to get the community and to learn new things in both platforms. ASHG is really great at keeping all of their content online in the Learning Center. So if they want to, you know, check out something that they missed, they can definitely go back and see any of the on-demand content. ASHG was my first conference as a graduate student. And so it definitely has been a pillar throughout my journey as I'm trying to become an independent scientist, a geneticist. And so I think it's just really opened the doors for me. It gave me a community. I've met so many amazing people through ASHG, and I'm continuing to learn every day. Every time I come to the conference, I meet new people, I learn new things. And so it's really helped me, you know, really hone in my skills and my research interests.
Now, we get started with our deep dive into the organizations and universities at the forefront of genetics and genomics. As science and technology rapidly advances, workforce gaps are increasingly becoming a major barrier to delivering precision health both ethically and equitably. This is why Sarah Lawrence College has established the Institute for Genomics Education, Workforce, and Leadership. Let's take a closer look.
We're going to tell you just a little bit about what our vision and our mission are with the Institute for Genomics Education, Workforce, and Leadership at Sarah Lawrence College.
Today we are in Nashville, Tennessee as a part of the Genetic Health Information Network Summit. And ahead of the summit, we are gathering key stakeholders across the genomic ecosystem to talk about some of the biggest challenges in implementing precision medicine.
The rate of change in science and technology for genetic and genomic sciences is a formidable challenge because truly we can't keep up. We need more people. We really have to swell the ranks of people who have this information and also share this goal of increasing access in order for us to move forward.
We can't do it alone, but we can be the institution that draws together partners across the landscape of genomics ecosystem to make a real change in the delivery of precision healthcare.
Shriners has always been at the forefront of driving innovation in healthcare and had a commitment to bringing the latest technology and advancements in care delivery to the patients that it serves. Well, now Shriners Children's aims to stand at the forefront of probably the greatest revolution in healthcare this century.
Genomics is revolutionizing healthcare because it's giving us information that we didn't have previously. The technologies built over the last 10, 15 years have moved us from looking at a rare disorder with a single gene defect to now, how do we use genetic information from the whole genome, which is 3 billion base pairs of DNA, in disorders that are more complicated? Innovation is critically important. We have to innovate to help our kids. And given the diseases our kids have, rare diseases, other more common ones like scoliosis and cerebral palsy, I think genetic information will become critical in not only diagnosis, but also in treatment down the road.
The hope is to use this data with the help of gene editing technologies that are being developed right now in parallel. We can start doing some gene editing and correct those mutations and give a better health to our patients.
Well, that is all we have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning into our show. If you haven't had a chance to watch our entire show, don't worry. You can catch us on the televisions placed throughout the convention center, at our select partner hotels, on the ASHG website, on our YouTube and X pages, formerly known as Twitter. Thanks again for tuning in. We will see you right back here again tomorrow.